supposed to be calm with you guys this morning. I don't want to be calm. I'm not calm. I'm not happy. I'm not asking for the 2000 Baltimore Ravens. I'm not asking for the John Gruden Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not asking for the 85 Bears. I'm asking for a punt. A single punt. Your coaching sucks across the board. Defensive coordinator. My mother could go out and play quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, and she would set the NFL record for passing yards. They're not even that. They're historically worse than the historically worst team. Let's take a step back. Final score 48-45. You lose at home to Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, and the Seattle Seahawks. I'm sure it is open season on Aaron Glenn right now. And you know what? Rightfully so. He deserves every bit of pressure and criticism coming his way over the next 24, 48, 72 hours. There's no excusing it. But you are talking about a billion-dollar organization, an organization that hires essentially its CEO and a head coach to run the organization. And for some rhyme or reason, this head coach is really good at one thing right now: losing football games. Through his first 21 games, he's 4-16-1. Mm-hmm. Matt Patricia was 8-12-1. Now, Adam, the roster, Adam. Roster was different.
The culture.
Team was more talented. The culture. He took over this. He did that. He did this. He did that. Rah, 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 rah. This is the NFL, guys. And I can't believe 4 games into the season, this is what I have to talk about. I have to talk about a team that should be 3-1, but coaching is holding you back. Not on the offensive side of the ball. Clearly, Ben Johnson avoided really disaster for this football team last year with the work he did with Dan Campbell. And clearly, that played a huge role. And if you just go look at his first 4 games called compared to Dan Campbell's first 4 games called, it's a night and day difference. Having said that, you take into account all the injuries on offense. Offense wasn't the issue. You look at the defense. Wait, you're going to bring up talent this morning to me? Is it talent or is it coaching?
I watched the Atlanta Falcons hold this team to 23 points last week.
I watched the New York Giants, granted it's the Chicago Bears, hold them to 12 points. Hell, I watched the Bears hold the Giants to 12 points. I watched Atlanta, like you said, hold Cleveland. I'm not asking for the 2000 Baltimore Ravens. I'm not asking, hell, for the John Gruden Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not asking for the 85 Bears. I'm asking for a punt. A single fucking punt. And I can't even get that.
Nope.
What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to be calm with you guys this morning? I don't want to be calm. I'm not calm. I'm not happy. Your coaching sucks across the board. Across the board. Head coach to the defensive coordinator right now, it sucks. Head coach cost you 2 games with decisions. Defensive coordinator, my mother could go out and play quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, and she would set the NFL record for passing yards. That's your state of coaching. And Rashad Penny, of course, pouring salt in the wound on a Monday morning. What does he come out and say? We knew what defense they were running the whole game. We knew. Yeah. We knew when they lined up this way, we were going to run the ball, and we were going to do this, and they were going to overcommit, and we were going to do this. Oh, wow. Man, I didn't know the NFL was that easy. I may have to go throw my hat in and go be a tight ends coach somewhere, and maybe I get an NFL job. Who knows? Losers. 1-3.
Dan Orlovsky's
and they
tweet.
easily... They're 1-3, and I'll let you go to Dan, because I did see that tweet, too.
It's hilarious.
They're 1-3. And in my opinion, this is a 3-1 football team. When do you guys reflect on that? Where you sit back and you ask yourselves, how are we 1-3? And I don't want to hear that it's just Aaron Glenn. Why are you 1-3 right now when I could argue your football team has played some of the better football, not only offensively, but even altogether, putting it together for 4 quarters in the NFC North? You're 1-3. You have fewer wins than the Bears. You are now 2 games back of the Vikings and the Packers. You still have to play the Packers twice. I mean, this is...
Schedule looks a little harder now, doesn't it? And that's why I love Dan's tweet. Dan said if the Lions had a bad defense, they'd be 3-1. So, like, what? This defense is even a step below that.
I would take historically the worst defense in the NFL, and I could be 3-1 right now. They're not even that. They're historically worse than the historically worst team.
Something's wrong schematically, because last year there was a lot of points where we were talking about on the show, hey, if the offense would score more points, they would win all these games. The defense is holding them, the offense isn't producing. And they were still one of the worst defenses in the league, but they were keeping guys, or at least teams, under control the first 4 games. I mean, this is a disaster. And it has to be schematically, because the team did get better. You didn't have Aiden. You didn't have Malcolm. You still didn't have Romeo Okoro last year. And they were keeping teams held to 19, 20, 24 points. This is another animal right here.
I have so much disappointment, but you know what? Let's start. We'll go to Redford, Michigan with Dan. I hope this isn't Dan Campbell calling in. Dan, good morning, buddy. You're on the Morning Woodward Show. What do you got?
Hey, how you guys doing? No, this isn't Dan Campbell. But I was actually at the game yesterday, and I went with my girlfriend and a few members of her family. And it's the first game that I've been to in probably like 20 years. And the stadium was packed. I even mentioned it to my girlfriend. Like, I was looking around. I was in section 204C, the club level seats. And just looking around, the stadium was packed. I mean, the vibe was awesome. It was roaring, the entire game pretty much. But you like what you guys were talking about, the defense. I mean, it was, that quarterback bootleg to the tight end. I mean, they could have ran that play all game, it seemed like. I mean, they were picking up, first downs left and right with that play. And just 555 total yards for Seattle. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like, it was tough to watch. I mean, it was back and forth, and then Goff throws that pick, right out of halftime, and it was. I don't know. I'm with you guys with the frustration. I mean, I've said on countless occasions, I don't know how this team hasn't sent me to the ER from a lot of times. It's very, very frustrating. I mean, when do we give? Do we keep giving Aaron Glenn a pass, or what are we supposed to do now?
The most frustrating part of that too, by what you're saying, is going into the game, you knew that Geno Smith was going to try and establish that play action and hit his tight ends in the middle. Like, that was a known thing going into the game. So, like, I want to ask you were there. How was the crowd, especially to the end of the game, yelling and chanting on third down, knowing that you haven't been able to stop them all game? Like, what's the confidence level of everybody in the crowd?
And it was kind of, when it came to third down, I was pretty much just like shaking my head, like, oh boy, here we go. They're gonna pick the first down up. You know what I mean? Like, obviously you want to, have them stop them, obviously, but it was like, somehow they're gonna pick the first down up. And then, Penny breaks that big runoff, and it was just like, yeah, the vibe was definitely like everybody was like, here we go again kind of thing. You know what I mean? So.
Fair enough. Well, look, Dan, we appreciate it. Thank you for calling in this morning. I want to go to James out in Ann Arbor. James, you're on the Morning Woodward Show. Your thoughts on the game. Walk me through your thoughts this morning.
My thoughts are disgust. This
is beyond
I get it,
man. I get it. I'm not going to knock anybody for calling in and saying this. I really am not.
And here's my thing. Like, this is to the point now, 4 weeks in, we're on Anthony Lynn level of last year for the defensive side of the ball now. Do we get rid of Aaron Glenn, say, okay, we're going to demote you, maybe bring in Aubrey Pleasant? Or is that even going to help? Are we going to just keep watching this film? And, I had hope this year. And God bless America, I lured myself to sleep. I drank the Kool-Aid. And, man, like you guys said, we should be 3-1 easy right now. I don't care what the stats say. I don't care when they say, well, they've tried their hardest. Everyone expected them to lose. When you're in these games, good teams find ways to win.
Right.
Bad teams, you do what we do, and we keep being the same SOL.
Welcome to the business,
I kinda
James.
I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts. Do you guys think replacing Aaron Glenn this early in the season could be a turnaround like they did for last year of Anthony Lynn?
You know what? At the end of the day, I have a head coach who I need to look at. The reality is, my job, any business, you look to the leader, the person in charge, your CEO. What is he doing for you? And if my CEO has to go through their head of communications and then the head of social media, and then they have to go change the head of, let's say, business development, and they just keep switching out because it isn't working, well, when are we supposed to look at the guy in charge of all of it and say, hey, you're not doing a good enough job? Again, open season on Aaron Glenn. I think it's totally justified. All of you can call in, and James, I appreciate you calling in and sharing your feedback. But the reality is, welcome to the NFL. You're now 1-3. You should be a 3-1 football team, and I could argue if you had C- coaching, you're a 3-1 football team. I'm not even asking for much. I'm asking for a single punt. Can't even get that. I'm asking for a decision. By the way, go look at how Seattle called their game. Did they go for it on fourth down?
Nope.
Did they make any egregious decision that would have, maybe handed over momentum to the Detroit Lions? No, they didn't. They took their points, and you know what? They ended up winning by 3. When we get back, we'll continue the calls. Call in with your questions. We'll have answers. It's disgusting morning here in Detroit. 1-3. What do you know? I already have to listen to people in the comments, whether they're calling in or they're on the Woodward Sports chat. Oh, thinking about Will Anderson. Oh, who are we drafting this year? It's October 3rd. That's what we're doing this morning. And you want to tell me it's Aaron Glenn's fault. The same Aaron Glenn that I was told, boy, he interviewed for the Saints job. Boy, he's going to get Jeff Okudah. How'd Jeff Okudah do yesterday? Oh, wait, he looked like a normal corner. If you want to see what an actual shutdown corner looks like, go watch Patrick Surtain on Devontae Adams yesterday. That's what they look like. You don't need to watch film. You just go watch. Go watch them one-on-one, how they interact. Hawkinson finally had his best game ever in his career. That was nice. Only took since 2019 his first ever game in the NFL to do something.
He got it.
Yeah. His first 100-yard game since
Is he
2019.
still Ebron? Is he still Ebron?
Stats are just the same as Ebron through the same amount of games.
Just checking.
It's literally the same amount of stats. But he is a better player than Ebron, that's no doubt.